Everybody, welcome to One Set. My name is Anthony Irvin.
What's up, everybody? How we doing?
This is my co-host, Jim Green. This has been a year in the making.
It's really been 23 years in the making. Who wants to tell it? You or me? I don't know. Let's do it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of One Set. My name is Anthony Irvin, and I'm with my co-host, Mr. Jim Green, aka Green Monster and Magic, coming at you guys. How was your weekend? Hope you guys had a fun time. Buddy, how are you doing? How was your weekend?
Dude, my weekend was so fast. But if I can tell you about right now, so our audience knows a little like behind the scenes. You did and as soon as you went like this, I went gooey, and I lost my earbuds. They just flew out of my
They flew out.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So I am.
You finally got your
now.
new Bluetooth headphones in, because you've been trying to do it for like the first couple episodes.
Dude.
You finally got them in.
Yeah. All the thanks to, because us men are stupid. The ladies in our lives actually figure all of this out for us. And that's why we have them, right?
Absolutely. They keep us grounded. They keep us
That's it.
They keep us centered when we need to be told, "Hey, come on back down. You're flying a little too high, my friend. Come on back down."
Yeah. So Cheyenne definitely came in clutch, because she knew. I woke up this morning, and because she's working from home right now. She was laying in the bed next to me, and I woke up and I was just like, oh God, whatever she has on the TV, no effing thank you.
Late night TV is the worst sometimes.
I popped these in, and then she was like, hey, and I was like, yeah. She was like, you okay? And I'm like, why aren't you working out in the living room?
I need to get some sleep.
Yeah, but by the time she went to the living room and I actually went out with her, she looked up what the troubleshooting was as to why I couldn't pair these
right
with my laptop here. And I went into all of the whatever, like the system preferences and the folders and this and the other, enable, disable, and then it worked. So
and it was probably one little small thing that you didn't realize you didn't do, and it was like, oh, I probably should have just done like click enable this little thing, because I've done that so many times when trying to figure out my little gadgets and everything, and they're not working.
Like troubleshooting on your end,
and you always think it's like the hardest thing. You're doing so much, but then you just forgot. Oh, I just needed to turn my headphones on.
Yeah, it's like the sound export. Sometimes you have, like, I ran into that when I was teaching Zoom from my basement 10 feet away. When quarantine first hit, it was like I had, like, because I had HDMI export out, because my TV was set up over here. I have like a 65-inch in my bedroom, and I use it. It was I don't need a 65-inch in my flipping bedroom, but it came in handy while I was doing the Zoom teaching thing, because I could see all of the kids so well.
Right.
It was so convenient. Yeah, how did we get there?
We were just talking about our weekend. you know, and then talking about your headphones and I always draw a blank on my weekends. What do we do? I had a gig this past weekend.
Yeah, I got you. So Cheyenne rode up with me, sat in the car while I taught for 2 hours in Bluebell.
Yeah.
And then we made a couple pit stops along the way. And then found you at Mainland Grill.
Yeah.
So we were there with you for the first half of your set, at least.
Mm-hmm. And it was a solid packed crowd.
Dude,
from what you were saying.
Yeah, the last time that you played there, we walked in and we were like
Nobody
the only
there.
people there. Yeah. And then it just filed in. It was
I think what really drew the crowd away this time was obviously the NFL weekend. And
definitely,
you know, I mean, not that, I mean, it sucks that the Eagles weren't in there. Sucks that we didn't have the Steelers, but I think definitely, I mean, it was obviously a great weekend of football. We can talk about that in a minute, but after you guys left, there was maybe 2 couples and like a big pair of people, 4 people to the sides of me. And I think they were there till about 5-10 minutes before my set really ended. So then the bartender was like, yep, all right, we can just, you know, close up shop. So I got done 10 minutes early, and it was good because it was my first gig of the year, first gig since December. Couple weeks. It's been like, yeah, I mean, it's been over a month. So trying to, you know, get the cobwebs out, get all the, you know, jitters out of there. I had a little sinus cold last week. If you guys didn't notice, on the podcast, I was had a little bit of a sinus thing, so I'm just getting over that, and you know, I feel a lot better doing the podcast this week, but you know, it was a little difficult singing with it a little bit. I just piled through it, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, I always, you know, take those. I mean, even if there's like 2 people in the crowd, I just either take it as a practice or just like, okay, I'll try a new song that I've been trying to work on if I have something, because, you know, most of the time they're not really going to care what you're playing anyway. So, I mean, for the most part, it was good. And I think I'm going to be back there next month, in the beginning of the month, if not the following month. It depends on how close they want me to play back to back. But I like it up there. It's a nice little small spot right off the turnpike there. So it's a nice little spot, and I haven't really got a lot of gigs in the Delco area lately. And usually in the winter, it slows down for me a little bit around here, and then springtime it picks up. So I figured, I mean, if I can get some things that are you know, a little bit further out of the way, and you know, I mean, I go fishing almost an hour away from where I live, so there's no point that I can't you know, go get paid to play a show that's an hour or so. So I'm like, all right, I mean, you know, if I can go fishing for free, that's like an hour. I can go play a show, then I'm going to get paid, and it's like 45 minutes. So, I mean, and it gives me other spots and new, you know, areas of people to play for, you know, so it's fun.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think just mildly, and I use that term lately, piggybacking off of that, like teaching so far from home.
Yeah.
It's nice to just engage an audience outside of your comfort zone. It's just
absolutely,
it feels great to just be like, hey, if like when you play far away and people are like, you know, you're pretty good, or you're really great, thank you so much. Like that feeling is like, okay, you're not just a home, not a home body, but someone from home that like has heard of you before and is like, oh, great job. It feels way validation 101 yet again. When you play far from home and someone appreciates you, you're like, okay.
Absolutely. If you can get the same kind of reactions that you do when you're closer to home, that, it's a good feeling, and that you're, that not only when you play for your home area, but you can still play for people that never even heard you before, and like, oh, hey man, yeah, you're really good. I've never seen you at this spot before. I mean, hopefully you play again. And then, that's what I got the first time. The one guy was telling me, like, yeah, I mean, you'll definitely get a good crowd around here. The Saturday nights can kind of be up and down, but once the people and regulars start knowing you, you'll definitely start getting some people to come back out regularly. So, and that's, I think that's the thing with especially like you were saying with teaching in different areas that are outside of your comfort zone, outside of your network. It takes time to build up a new network of people and people within certain areas, but I think that's just the thing that, if you're always worried about the fact, like, oh, well, I'm not having this amount of people or not this amount of people coming, but as long as you're loving what you're doing, it's not going to really feel too much like a job or a work type of situation. Because I can easily not take the job because it's too far out of the way, and I can easily probably have the same amount of crowd here, but I love playing. I will gladly and honestly play wherever I can play at this point. And now that I know I'm worthy of actually getting paid some money to play music, I know that, because 10, 15 years ago, if you told me, oh, you're going to get, $100, $150 to play for, 3-4 hours, I would have laughed in your face. Like, nobody's going to pay that much money to see me play, especially for 3-4 hours. Hell no. But now that I am, it's like, I feel that much more confident, the fact that people really take me serious. And, it's been really humbling to me to know that, people like me in that aspect, to want to continue to see me at their venues. And I take it like a business. More so in the last couple of years, I've taken, my music also like a business, to be like, okay, how can I continue to build my craft and, build my network of people, so that, you're building a product. Because even though us musicians, we are a product of ourselves, with writing and, networking and meeting new people. So you are a product of yourself in a way. So you have to constantly be, in network with so many people, and, meeting new people and learning new relationships. There's always so much you can learn. So.
Yeah. I think it's like the entertainment industry overall is just such an interesting thing to comprehend, right?
It is.
As far as you're concerned with music, it's just like you said. You're approaching your craft kind of as a business now, and you're like, okay, what I do? Like for me, when I had a business, when I had a dance studio, I approached it just kind of like, who wants to come and take some dance classes? And I didn't have the mindset of like the outside stuff. And I think once I tried to acknowledge everything that surrounded it, is when the stress hit me. And then I started liking it less. Just honestly. Yeah. No offense to anybody who was a client of mine. But it was just the pressure that came in from the outside corners.
Yeah.
I was just like, I love working with the kids in the classroom, and that was it.
Yeah. It definitely has its ups and downs as an entrepreneur. Definitely.
Of course. Yeah. And I think, me now, and even last year, teaching at various studios and just teaching and not having that pressure from the outside in, it's very validating to the point of like, okay, yeah, because if you run a business and you are good at running a business, which guess what, me and my family weren't. Hats off.
I mean, hey, you guys ran it pretty well, I thought, you know.
I mean, we catered to like what people liked in the first half of when we were open. And I think that the demand for better things, period. I think the demand in general just increased. And we couldn't answer to it. We were good. And I was just talking about this with my mother, like not even 24 hours ago on the phone about like which years were our prime.
Gotcha.
And why they were our prime. And it was just like, we thoroughly enjoyed everything that we did. And we didn't have a lot of pressure coming in from the corners. And once the pressure came in from the corners, we were just kind of like, this sucks.
Yeah.
But we did what we could along the way until the end. And now it's like, you know, blip. Just kidding.
If anybody caught the last episode and caught the blip and caught the little sensor, just that was a little thing that me and Jim thought was pretty funny, like the little pencil sensor.
No, I mean, I will let her agree or not agree to allow this. But Kim ran the studio in my absence because I was teaching in multiple places. Right. So currently she is directing for a theater production, a re-up of The Wedding Singer, which I will actually be dancing in.
Nice.
So you'll have to catch me next month, at the end of next month in February. Spotlight Theater is where we will be at.
And where's Spotlight Theater?
So it's funny that you mentioned. Jeez. I will have to get back to you on that because
if we don't, we can always edit it out. But
yeah, no, they were in a location, and then there were things, and I wasn't. Gotcha. So I can't tell you specifically where it's at, but
gotcha.
Yeah, dude. Football.
Yeah, dude. The weekend was like for even. I mean, I know you were saying last episode you weren't starting out as like the biggest football fan, but for a non-football fan, you were like in awe about this past weekend of football. And I'm not the biggest football fan either, but I mean, I know sports. I mean, like I said, I grew up with sports, but this weekend was a very historical weekend. You know, each game outside of the Chiefs and Bills game ended with a field goal. Like it came down to the last minute field goal for each of those games. And you know, just talking about the Chiefs and the Bills, you know, that was historic in general. 4 lead changes in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. That was effing nuts. You know, I'm not sure if that was a record of lead changes in 2 minutes, but it's definitely something that's not often seen. And then, you know, we can talk about overtime rules with it. I mean, because I agree that, I mean, I feel the Bills should have gotten a chance to at least match the touchdown. And here's my philosophy. I'm glad. I mean, Chiefs, congratulations. I mean, you know, but with the coin toss, it kind of basically decides the winner of the game in a way. And you can say, yeah, defense. The defense should have done their job with stopping the Chiefs. Of course. I mean, it could have been the same way if the Bills got it. The Chiefs needed to stop the Bills. But I feel that if the coin toss winner, if that team scores a touchdown, the opposite team should be able to match it on the next possession. And if they don't, then the game's over. Or if that opposing team after the touchdown, scores a touchdown and it's back to tied, then it should be a sudden death. Whoever scores the next goal, whether it be a field goal or touchdown, wins the game. So then you don't have to be going back and forth of like, okay, touchdown, then they score a touchdown, then they score a touchdown. It should be if the first possession is a touchdown, then either way, I mean, because you can say if it's a field goal, then the other team gets a chance. But a touchdown, the rules are if it's a field goal, the other team gets a shot. If it's a touchdown, game's over. I feel either way, the opposing team should get a shot. And if it is matched, then then you play sudden death, and whoever scores the next field goal or touchdown wins the game. I think that would be a little bit more fair, because that kind of happened to the Chiefs last year with the Patriots, or 2 years ago. Sorry, 2 years ago. And, it's kind of funny how, Mahomes was on the other side of this game where he won the coin toss and they went right down to score a touchdown, where 2 years ago, the Patriots won the coin toss in the Super Bowl and they went down and won, or it wasn't the Super Bowl. It was the AFC champion, I think. But, they went down, scored, and Mahomes never had a chance. So it's funny how that kind of happened and he was on both ends of the story. But, that's my take on it. But we both had our bets on who was going to win. And, I picked the Bengals. You picked the Titans. So we had the Bengals that won. San Fran and the Packers, we both lost. I was very surprised with the San Fran win. And, again, that decided at the last minute. Who else? The Rams beat the Bucks, which was another upset. Brady. I mean, it's very hard to go against Brady, but it could have been like everybody's saying. It could be his last. It could have been his last game. I think he's still going to come back for another year, because I don't think for that type of guy with that type of legacy, he's not going to leave it on a loss like that, unless he's destined to be like, okay, I have nothing else to give. But he's definitely. You can definitely tell he's on his downside of his game. He's getting a little slower. Correct me if I'm wrong, people, if you hear this, but I definitely think he's on the other side of his prime at this point. He's still playing at the high level. You can't deny that. But, with the last half of the season, he's just kind of been, not the Tom Brady we usually see.
What about the last game?
the Chiefs and the Bills
game? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, incredible game. That's what, about all the games. All the games in general. It was a great weekend of football, but definitely that last game topped off the whole weekend. For football fans and non-football fans, you at least had to enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, so my drink of the week is going to be this Lagunitas Maximus Colossal IPA beer.
Jimbo
it's a 9%
with the beer this week.
Yeah, switching it up from my cocktails. And how about you? Before I respond to the football stuff.
Yeah. So since we are going to talk a little bit more wrestling later in the show, I had to pull out none other than one of our, favorite wrestlers, the People's Champ, the Terramana Tequila. So
Perfect.
have
I
a little
love
bit
it.
of Terramana, chasing it with a little bit of OJ. So cheers, my friend.
Cheers, brother. I love you.
Love you too, buddy.
Okay.
And cheers to our audience. Thank you all for tuning in for another week. We really appreciate you guys coming back and continuing to hang out with us. Continue to share with your friends and family about One Set. You guys can follow us at the number one set pod. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all our links will be in the description below. When this will be out, you guys can be able to watch this on YouTube, watch the video on YouTube, watch the podcast versions on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts. And Facebook does have a podcast link to it, but I'm not sure how popular it is. But usually once we upload our podcast in podcast form, it will upload to our Facebook. But there's a lot more ways you can listen to it these days.
Here's the thing, listeners. We would like you to submit your paper form handwritten One Set. Okay. And we're going to shuffle them around, and the winning pick, whoever has the best handwriting or the most terrible, awful, amazing handwriting, is going to receive a $50 Visa gift card, courtesy of One Set.
There you go.
Can't wait to see it. Super excited.
And you guys can email us, or you can, hit us up on Facebook. You can email us those pictures at setpod@gmail.com. You can look in the descriptions of the video, and it's always in the descriptions of the podcast. So, we'll probably get some of those, and, depending on how many we get, maybe we'll reveal it on the next episode or the following episode. We can let this go until we get a couple of people. So that'll be cool. So somebody's going to win a nice $50 gift card from us, courtesy of the One Set dudes.
Yes, that's right. Okay, let's talk about should we talk about how all four of my picks for the NFL last week were wrong? So never listen to me again, or listen to me and say, here are my picks, and then just go the other way, and then you'll be perfectly fine.
Well, I was actually 2 for 2. So, I was 50-50. I wasn't too bad.
You were good.
It's better than what I usually do on
4.
It's better than what I usually do on FanDuel. I usually put up a couple bucks, and then I just never win anything. I had almost won $3,000 on a game, and then it was like the last 5 seconds of the game. Kicker hits a field goal to win the game, but that screwed up the whole tally, and I dropped down to like $2. I cried the whole night.
Okay. All right. Oh, good God. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, outside of
money come
that,
out.
let's just do our predictions for the Super Bowl at this point, and then we can get into our wrestling talk.
Yeah. Well, we have one more week until the Super Bowl. We have one more round. We have the conference finals that are coming up.
Okay.
So that's this weekend.
And it's the Chiefs versus
the Bengals.
Bengals. Okay. Chiefs win.
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs on this one. I love how the Bengals are playing. But again, Chiefs are playing at home. Home field advantage is always good. I got to go with the Chiefs on that one.
Right.
Then we have the Rams and the 49ers. I got the Rams.
I got the Rams.
Rams are gold right now.
The only thing that I've heard about that is that the Niners have the Rams number. So you got to be careful on that front, because it's it's like when the Patriots play Miami.
Yeah.
In Miami can beat the Patriots, even if Brady is the quarterback back when. So look, all I have to say overall, and to conclude the conversation quickly, I watched that Bills and Chiefs game and was like, whoever wins this is winning the Super Bowl. Don't care. That's how I felt.
And that's going to be a rivalry for the next couple of years, I feel, too. That's going to be a very nice, rivalry. Trying to enunciate that right. Rivalry of two teams that are going to definitely give you a good game.
Dude, if I'm 50 years old and that's not still a rivalry, I'll be surprised. And that's just in the next 15 years. Because, I mean, Mahomes is Jesus.
Yeah.
I kept wanting him to lose because I wanted the Bills to get the win. Only so the Bills could get the win. The Chiefs didn't need it. Jesus, watching the Chiefs play, I was like, this is a Super Bowl winning team right here. Like, this offense, defense, like, just was rather solid.
And it's definitely a conversation of fact that, regular season football and playoff season football, totally two different mindsets. I mean,
two different stories.
As long as you're doing good in the regular season, I mean, you can obviously still do good in the playoffs, but, the mindset, and it goes for a lot of any like sports, like especially in basketball too, like your mindset in playoff mode is totally different. Like you're tuned in to, a different mindset of playing, and especially because, especially in football, it's play or go home. Where basketball, I mean, you have at least 7 games where, I mean, you can kind of, get to a point, but especially with football, it's do or die. So you have to be tuned in, because you can have the perfect regular season and then lose in the first round, Cowboys. Sorry, Cowboys fans.
That was just perfect. That was good.
That was good. That was a good one. Hey, we're Eagles fans around here. We can do it. It's fine.
We bleed green.
Yeah,
is what it is, dude. How about your picks for the Royal Rumble this year?
For this year, so I tuned in the Raw last night a little bit, just to kind of get in the, because I haven't tuned in the Raw legit in like a couple weeks. I may have seen like bits and parts here and there. Even last night, I wasn't tuned in from start to finish, because it's just been so like nothing, like we've always said, it's not keeping me wanting to watch for 3 hours. But I tried to stay, especially with the main card. From what I've been seeing, and we talked about this earlier, that I think for the men, I think we're looking at either having Seth Rollins or KO. Some people are even saying AJ Styles might be a contender. I'd probably say top 3 would be AJ Styles. I mean, in no numerical order, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, or Seth Rollins probably winning the Royal Rumble.
Okay, yeah. So for me, God, I want to say Kevin Owens is getting it.
Right.
It, for whatever reason, perhaps they swerve everybody, and Seth Rollins topples Roman Reigns for the Universal belt.
Yeah.
And then
because they're getting that match that night too. So
the Seth Rollins KO story has to have the payoff, and I think it will. I mean, I know that they wrestled each other at Mania 36 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But I think that they're trying to build to them having a match with a belt, like a main belt on the line. The other swerve that I see is somehow Brock loses the belt in his match with Bobby Lashley. And then somehow we get Big E winning the Rumble, and we get Big E versus Bobby Lashley as a title match.
I wouldn't mind it, because if you get Big E having that big WrestleMania moment, that would be top dollar.
Better than his Money in the Bank cash-in, but because he had the Money in the Bank cash-in, they might give the Rumble win to someone else. But I'm not sure yet.
Right. There's a lot of ways they can play it, just like anything. I mean, even with a lot of kayfabe and spoilers these days. I mean, I've been seeing with, the fact that like, oh, well, so and so may be saying that this person's going to be in the Royal Rumble. This person saying, oh, this person might be in the Royal Rumble. I'm like, why can't we go back to the days where we didn't know who was going to be in the Royal Rumble, and we just watched up until the time, and we were just excited for whoever came out.
Well, that's part of why the Attitude Era was so good, was because the internet wasn't such a CB.
We had
radio.
We had CBradio.com on us today, but now we don't have as much. And like I said, we both came up in the Attitude Era, and a lot of kids these days, I mean, it's played down a lot compared to what they got away with when we were growing up. Because I'll tell you, 90% of what they did back then would never fly today, even with the culture we're in right now. I mean, a lot of that stuff would never fly. But and I guess just like anybody says, like, oh well, the attitude happened and it's never coming back. Which I mean, times change. Times you have to move on. You have to move in with the times, and I do have a feeling that WWE is in the stages of being sold. So, I mean, it only makes sense with, the fact that so many wrestlers being let go, so many things changing behind the scenes, and, with NXT changing, which, I mean, I don't think that has much to do with it, but, you can just see the NXT 2.0 and everything. Obviously that changed mainly because Hunter's not in the running with it right now, but I just miss when there was a lot more surprise factor in a lot of WWE, where now like you can't really be too surprised because everything's all on the internet. So and even with wrestlers having Twitter accounts, Twitch accounts, it's good that you kind of see their personal lives, but when we were growing up, you didn't have that type of thing. So you only saw them on Monday nights, Tuesday or Thursday nights, and you just saw them in their glory. So you looked up to these guys as like, okay, you never see them in their personal lives. So, I mean, these guys are bigger than, what's that term? Bigger than, the like
larger than life.
The larger than life people. There you go. Larger than life people you see on TV. Where today it's like, you do see them in their larger than life personality, but then when they're on, Twitch or Twitter and stuff, they have their personas that they in their characters, but then they also have their personal characters that they show too. So it's like, you know, you have that space between, you know, my real personality where the persona that I'm playing on TV.
Okay. Current champions. Universal, Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
The WWE champion, Brock Lesnar. They've obviously been teasing them facing each other.
It's going to happen.
But I mean, it will. But who would you like to see them face outside of each other? I mean, obviously, it's a marquee match. I mean, the Roman Rock match is everyone's waiting for it. Like the Terramana. Yeah, that's obvious.
100%.
100%.
That would be in the call card match to see Roman Reigns and The Rock. Doubt it's going to happen this year. I would put my money on if The Rock is available next Mania. I would put money on next Mania if he can, you know,
because it's in LA. Yeah,
yeah, and but, you know, what better way?
Who would you like to see Brock Lesnar face at this point?
I mean, it would have been nice to move Lashley and Lesnar to Mania, because that would mean I think it's going to be a decent match. Do I think they can probably get another match out of it? Probably.
They could, but like it's not being built like
right.
Like Goldberg and Lesnar, where Goldberg squashed him in 1:26. Or like less than 1.5 minutes. I think it was 1:26.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely not hyping it as much, and which kind of makes it seem like they could be, you know, they could pull like you said, they could pull a Lesnar drops it, and then he runs through the Rumble to get it back or whatever to go and do a Bobby Lashley Lesnar 2. But I don't know. I'm trying to think of who right now in the roster.
Marketably speaking, it doesn't make sense, but you could swerve everybody and have Walter, aka whatever the F his name is now,
Gunther.
He could go after Brock Lesnar, and that would be a match that people would want to see. I would want to see. I'd be like,
I'm pulling the card on what we were just talking about off the air. That's our CB Radio of the Week. That whoever named Gunther is the CB Radio of the Week. There you go. That's our new little type of thing we're gonna have in our show.
All right, CB Radio of the Week.
Whoever named Walter Gunther has gotten the CB Radio of the Week.
That's like, I mean, oh my God.
I don't know who thought of changing his name and thought that name would be market. I mean, hey, they're doing something right with it, I guess. But, you know, to change the name, like they've been always changing these guys' names. They did the same thing with, you know, almost everybody that came out of NXT. Like they were trying to change Keith Lee, his attire thing. I think they lasted a week and everybody crapped on it, and he moved back to his old thing. But then they tried to do, what was the not Thundercat, but what nickname did they have him doing like the last little bit before he got released? It was like some type of cat thing or bear thing. I forget.
Bear cat, something like that.
Cat. Yeah,
something like that.
And then, you know, changing, you know, it used to be Matt Riddle, now it's just Riddle. And then, you know, giving, you know, Ricochet the whole superhero type thing. But now we got, you know, Nikki Ash doing the whole superhero thing, which, I mean, but it seemed like that was her character that she ran up. So, I mean, you can't really give her claims for somebody telling her, oh, this is what you're going to be doing. This is something that she wanted to do. So, I mean, hey, she's doing what she wants and she's happy with. And that's the thing. If you like your character and you're putting your all into a character and you make people believe in what you're doing, that's all fine to me. But when you can tell a character is just kind of being a character just for the sake of somebody's telling them to be, you can tell that they're not really into it. That's when it's just like, oh, okay, get this off my TV, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think we should acknowledge me. Acknowledge me. We should at least provide. Jesus, there isn't about. We should acknowledge Ricochet and the work that he did.
Yeah.
And they built him up. They had him face Brock Lesnar in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
In Saudi Arabia. Blood money. But
Hashtag.
And then they killed him off quicker than they killed off all the other people. It's just like, yeah. It's like Ricochet could be a top guy, and Vince just crushed him 100%. It was just like, nah, you're small. I don't care about you.
Yeah. You can definitely tell right now that Vince is not really for, and I think that's half the reason why we haven't seen Finn Balor, is that I think the small dudes are not getting the recognition from Vince, and he's moving towards the big, muscular, you know, dudes that are, you know, like we've seen back in like the 80s and 90s, like the big tough dudes. You know, I think we've seen like a very small niche of like high flyer wrestlers that are not getting the support in WWE, and you'll see them in NXT, or they might be a main event or anything, but definitely main card, you're not seeing a lot of the high flyers right now. It's more about muscle.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that because WWE is globalized,
yeah,
and they want to look big, that they're only entertaining the idea of big superstars. Anyone that is small, they're looking at as indie wrestlers, which is why they were okay with letting Adam Cole go. Adam Cole go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam Cole go.
They were okay with letting Adam Cole go, except that was maybe one of the biggest mistakes that they ever made, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I just, he is one of the biggest reasons, other than CM Punk, that people tune in to AEW.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just also of attraction.
I mean, you can say all day that, oh, well, AEW is just, you know, the WWE wrestlers that didn't, or that are, you know, the pastime, but, you know, you can actually just tell they're having fun over there. I mean, it seems like they're getting their own material to really just have their own craft on how to work stuff, instead of saying, okay, this is the script that you're working with this week, and you have to stay on script and don't go off script, where seems like, I mean, AEW probably does at this point now, has a little bit more of a script, and they're not but they have their certain wrestlers that they know can just, you know, hey, just go out there and do your thing. But I'm sure
I think, go ahead.
No, just kind of going off, you know, the fact that, I mean, they have the wrestlers that they know that have the mic skills, that they don't have to really give them the push to be like, okay, maybe talk about this. Like, no, hey, this is you. You know what to do. You have the experience. Go out there and do it. Where they have, and then they have like the other new up and coming guys where they're like, okay, well, here's a little, you know, hint to something you can go out there with, and then just make it work. So it's kind of like, you know, the hand in hand with it.
I do think that the Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk match needs to be like a large feud.
Yeah.
Because they teased it, and it was just kind of like, man, it didn't happen.
Yeah, that first promo they both had a couple months ago, that was awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. That I don't know if they're like slow burning building that. And if they are, good for them. Do it.
Yeah.
MJF, the only person that I want him to face is The Miz. and I'm just being serious. Like,
dude, at this point, I would love to I mean, in the news files, I mean, they've been kind of saying that WWE and AEW are kind of working behind the scenes,
acknowledging the Forbidden Gate or whatever it is.
Why not? I mean, why can't
not?
We all just,
it will make so much money.
And we've already had, in WWE and AEW that they're both calling out wrestlers from each promotion. So why can't
they're already feuding at each other? Yeah.
So again, like with Seth Rollins mentioning Jon Moxley on SmackDown, then you had MJF mentioning about the Miz, or Edge mentioning about the whole Miz thing with AEW. Why not just hey? There can be one. Just make one pay-per-view a year where those two companies combined.
It would draw so much money, so much money.
And it's one thing to. I mean, I don't know why they don't pull the trigger. I have a feeling they probably will eventually, maybe years down the line. But there has to be some
Vince
type
is
of
dead in 30 years.
Yeah, I mean. That I don't see how. I mean, Vince doesn't see the paycheck in that, where they can just have, a Kenny Omega and Roman Reigns match.
Yeah,
money.
Kenny versus Roman. It's that match.
Brock Lesnar and somebody from AEW. I mean, come on, I mean. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
That would be, and like I said, just do one pay-per-view a year and just have them building up to like certain things. And that's awesome how they're having wrestlers mention other wrestlers from different promotions. And it gives other people incentives to watch the other promotions because what are they going to say?
It's what's best for business, honestly.
So you got to feel that they're starting to allow those things a little bit. And again, like you said, the forbidden doors are going to slowly continue opening how much they can really allow. And it's only going to eventually, hopefully, lead to something like that,
Yeah. Yep. The Women's Rumble, what do you think?
I was looking at that too.
Because before the rumors hit, I was like, Ronda Rousey's coming back.
I was going to say, I wanted you to see, I wanted to hear your prediction first. So you're going with Ronda Rousey. You were first thinking Ronda Rousey when the rumors came out.
No, I mean, initially I thought Liv Morgan was winning the Rumble and then taking out Becky, but Vince looks at WrestleMania as marquee matches.
Yeah.
Heavy names. So I'm like, I think that just Ronda Rousey shows up and collapses everyone and then challenges Becky, which is a story in itself.
Yeah.
I think that's the money maker. It's the biggest thing. As much as I would rather Liv Morgan go to WrestleMania and beat Becky Lynch. I think they're going to do the Ronda Rousey thing. That's my gut. That's my gut.
That was definitely my thought too. And again, looking through things on our, Facebook groups that we belong to, shout out to the Squared Circle Entertainment and
Squared
LTG.
Circle Entertainment, living the gimmick.
Love those guys. But another person, if she returns, I think has a good possibility, would be Bayley. Because she's been off on injury. So that kind of swerves. That can be a swerve thing. If she does return, she could be one of the last three. It could be Bayley, Liv, Ronda, and maybe Sasha. Or no, sorry, maybe obviously you're going to put Charlotte in there too because I mean she's in there. You're not going to have a
Bianca Belair will go in the last
yeah,
four.
true. So your top 5 will be Bianca Belair, Ronda, Bailey if Bailey returns, Bailey, Charlotte, and Liv. That might be your top 5.
So the thing is that they're not going to have Ronda and Bailey return at the same time because if you're going to have that return, you can't spoil it at the same time. So it's either Ronda returns out of nowhere and beats or challenges Becky at WrestleMania, or Bailey returns out of nowhere at the Rumble and challenges the SmackDown champion. Who's the SmackDown Women's champion right now?
Charlotte. So that was another thing. Like you can get Ronda and Becky, and then you could get Bailey returning on SmackDown, or you get Bailey in the Rumble and Charlotte knocks out Bailey. Then you get that feud. So then you get Ronda winning it, and then you get the feud from Bailey and Charlotte without Bailey actually winning the Rumble.
Yeah. You also have, if Ronda wins the Rumble, is she challenging Becky over here because Becky pinned her at the Mania that we attended, or is she challenging Charlotte Flair because she's evidently like the head of the table for the women.
Right.
So the Ronda angle can work. The Bailey angle can also work. That's fun. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. It's good when you can have a lot of different angles and options in the Rumble. And I think that's kind of how it was last year. Like there was a lot of different ways that it could have panned out. And that's
that's the thing is like that's what makes it entertaining. It's like you're not sure versus this person is definitely winning. Yeah. And then you're not engaged. But I think that they're trying to do that with the Brock title win, especially after adding him in to the immediate 4.
Yeah.
So it was a fatal 5-way match with Brock. I think Brock's losing that title before Mania, and then he's going on to face Roman. Like that's him going to face Roman has been the move the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
So I think that it's a matter of how do you get the belt off of him,
right?
And if they're setting up for like Seth versus KO, then KO wins the Rumble, right? Because Brock, I think if Brock goes into the Rumble, then he wins. And it's very evident, like, he's challenging Roman, and then we don't know who's challenging the WWE champion, right?
Right.
Like, that would be more like, let me glue my eyes to the TV, like, attractive. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But our one-step audience, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're not exactly wrapping up. I just wanted to say thank you. This is Anthony Irvin, my best friend here. I'm Jim Green. This is One Set. You can find us at the number 1 setpod@gmail.com, and the same handles for our social media.
And you guys can email us at onesetpod@gmail with, like we were saying earlier tonight. We'll do a little post after this, or maybe in the video, we'll give you a little idea of the one set paper to give you guys an idea, or we'll put a post. You guys reenact it, do it for on a piece of paper. We'll pick it out of a hat or some trash bag, some type of thing. We'll pick our best, and whoever's the winner will be getting a nice little $50 Visa card from you boys. So you guys can email us your pictures. We don't really have a timeline on it, but maybe we'll get back to you guys on the next episode about it, or we'll pick the winners within the next episode or two. And we really appreciate everybody's support that has been, continuing to watch episode after episode. This is episode 4, and we've been doing this for a month now. This has been really fun, and it's been a new experience for both of us, and we're getting better as we go for each week on learning how to portray ourselves in the best way and give you guys the best product we can. And we hope you guys are enjoying it and continuing to be on this journey and ride with us, man, because we don't have any plans on stopping, and we're only going up from here, my friends.
Friends. See you next week.
Have a good week, guys. And yes, we will be seeing you on the next episode, guys.